The Philippines, a nation of breathtaking beauty, also carries a history scarred by violence and oppression. From centuries of colonial rule to brutal wars and dictatorship, Filipinos have endured unimaginable hardships. These events remind us of the human cost of conflict and the fight for freedom. Here are 5 of the most brutal episodes in Philippine history. The late 19th century saw the Philippines breaking free from over 300 years of Spanish colonial rule. Spain ceded the Philippines to the United States, igniting a fierce struggle for self-determination. The Philippine-American War, lasting from 1899 to 1902, was a bloody and brutal affair. The Balangiga Massacre stands as a chilling example of the conflict's brutality. The war and its accompanying famine and disease led to the deaths of an estimated 200,000 Filipino civilians. World War II brought suffering to the Philippines. In 1942, the Japanese invaded, starting a brutal 3-year occupation. The Bataan Death March saw thousands of prisoners perish. The comfort women system left deep scars on Filipino women. The Manila Massacre in 1945 saw 100,000 civilians killed. Chapter 3. The Battle of Budd-Dajo, a massacre on sacred ground. The early 20th century saw American colonial rule marred by violence and bloodshed. The Moro people, Muslim inhabitants of the southern Philippines, fiercely resisted American attempts to subjugate them. This resistance culminated in the tragic Battle of Budd-Dajo in 1906, where nearly 1,000 Moros, including women and children, were killed. The American military, citing the need to crush Moro resistance, defended the attack. The sheer scale of civilian casualties sparked outrage and condemnation, both in the Philippines and the United States. Chapter 4. Spanish Colonization, 300 Years of Oppression. For over 3 centuries the Philippines endured the yoke of Spanish colonial rule. Forced labor, heavy taxation, and the suppression of indigenous cultures fueled resentment and resistance. The Catholic Church, while spreading Christianity, also became an instrument of control and oppression. Revolts against Spanish rule, like the 85-year-long Dagohoy Rebellion, were brutally suppressed. The execution of the Gomburza priests in 1872 galvanized Filipino nationalism and fueled the fires of revolution. Chapter 5. The Marcos Regime, Darkness under Martial Law. In 1972, President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law, plunging the Philippines into a dark chapter marked by human rights abuses, corruption, and the suppression of dissent. Political opponents, activists, journalists, and anyone deemed critical of the government were targeted. Thousands were arrested and detained without trial, often subjected to torture. The People Power Revolution of 1986 finally ended Marcos's dictatorship, but the scars of those dark years continue to haunt the Philippines. Outro: Remembering to Build a Better Future. Each of these events stands as a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Filipino people. These brutal episodes serve as powerful reminders of the human cost of oppression, conflict, and the struggle for freedom. As we move forward as a nation, let us honor the sacrifices of those who came before us by safeguarding the freedoms they fought so hard to achieve. Let us remember these dark chapters to inspire us to build a more just, equitable, and peaceful Philippines for generations to come.